Anshul.
Hi, Rooney. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Very good. Okay.
So
So
let's
do
start
we?
with an introduction about the company.
Sure. Sure. Just a second. Would you like me to introduce the topic?
Yeah.
All right. So we are here today to discuss about relationships during the lockdown. I'm sure all of you are seeing statistics which talks about difficulties that are going up during the lockdown. Maybe you're experiencing some of it yourself. So that's something that we would be discussing today. And definitely, when you see that you're spending more time with people, there are a lot of factors which are also changing, right? It's not just the fact that you're spending time with family members or you're spending time with your partner, but we have to consider additional factors which are also changing on the outside. This could be your job related situations, it could be health related situations, this could be your own satisfaction with yourself when it comes to career. There are a lot of things additionally that has gone about a change that we should not discount when we are talking about relationships during lockdown. So why don't we like maybe start off with one of the questions that we had from the audience, and then I'll connect that to
Of
some of the
course.
factors. Yeah.
We got quite a few questions. So there's one question was someone asked what can be the reasons for the increase in the number of cases of domestic violence during the lockdown. So that was one question.
Okay. All right. So I think this is the first time that we have spent this much time in indoors, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure if you just reflect right now, we have actually been indoors for almost about 7 months now.
Yeah.
Close to 7 months, and
So
it's just gone by so fast. Nevertheless, there are additional things that could keep changing. For example, let's say frustrations with relation to work. Realistically, there are a lot of people who are also experiencing difficulties at work. This could either be like a salary cut. There are a lot of people who are working more number of hours for half pay, people who have got laid off, and the usual strategies that we have in place for blowing off some steam, right? For example, like if you have like a really hectic work day or a really hectic day at college, what would you do after work
no,
or college?
maybe go out with my mom for like dinner or like go out with my friends. Something
So
like
the
that.
aspect of going out, how does that help you?
It's just the environment. I think everyone's having a good time. You see new people, you
Okay.
see faces. I think that helps a lot rather than coming home and just staying at home, being in like the same four walls, especially for like a
Yes.
prolonged period of time.
So there appears to be like more excitement outside, a change of environment, maybe better energy levels outside.
Yes, yes.
Whereas indoors, you have some kind of a monotony that you start to establish, right? If you come back to, oh no, this is my life, then that's not a really good start.
Yeah.
Whereas earlier we had an option of finishing work, maybe going for a drive, catching a movie with a couple of friends, going out for dinners. Just a change of environment can have such a positive effect on a person. When you come back indoors and you face your partner, what happens is this pent up frustration that you have with various other things. Somehow we feel like we are more comfortable, I would say, lashing out on a partner that we already feel safe with. Because a partner is supposed to be with you through thick and thin and
Yeah.
whatever those wedding vows are, right? So then we feel that there is this safety that comes in with lashing out at a person who we are familiar with. And that's one of the reasons why there's increased domestic violence also that is happening now, with more time spent indoors, with the monotony that comes inside. If you're not going to have any room for excitement in your
Yeah.
with your partner, right? You might be married for 30 years, but you can still feel that you enjoy the time that you spend with them. And very few people know how to detach from work life and not bring it back home itself.
Yeah.
Another way you can look at it is work was also some kind of an escape mechanism for a lot of people. It was a source to escape from the stresses at home. Maybe this could be kids, it could be chores, it could be a lot of those responsibilities that we are constantly reminded of at home. So, work would have been an escape. Now, in the absence of that, we are just left to feel all that frustration in the environment which triggers it itself. So, if you do not have an existing good relationship with your spouse or with your partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, then this is likely to flare up.
Yes.
And I think a third way to look at it, Roni, would be that our coping strategies are not that great. And I think people are figuring it out as time goes past that we are not, we probably use the same strategies over and over again. And one of the go-to strategies for everybody is escapism or avoidance. If not A, we go to B. If not B, we go to C. Now we are having the lack of all those resources and opportunities. And when our coping skills are crashing down, stressors or what we perceive as stressors will go up. And that again comes out as pent up frustration at home. So I think that's one of the ways to look at it.
Yeah. We have more questions. Someone also asked that is it true that not meeting for months is a major factor that leads to people walking away from each other's lives?
Okay. I feel like I'm a love guru right now, but all right. So I think long distance relationships, even research looks at long distance relationships as having completely different variables that you're operating with. You're trying to be intimate with a person who you are not physically seeing, that you've not probably met in a long time. And what makes the long distance relationship during COVID a little different is the uncertainty that comes with not being able to meet them. I think otherwise they can probably say in another 2 months we'll meet up, you come here, and maybe in December I'll fly down there. We had plans, there were plans. Now we have this difficulty in even making plans because rules are changing from day to day, and there's this big factor of uncertainty. So when you have that uncertainty in a relationship, one factor that is likely to get disturbed is trust.
Yeah.
You may not be able to trust yourself to stick on to the relationship, as well as you may not be able to trust your partner. So then insecurities are likely to pop up even more than usual. So that's one of the things that can affect a long distance relationship. So to answer your question, I think your question was that is it true if it's going to last or not, right?
Yeah.
I would say that it depends on the two individuals in the relationship. There is a lot more than physically meeting that can lead to satisfaction in the relationship, for sure. And it's important that you have things that you can do together that you can enjoy. I think technology, as much as it's definitely brought people closer as well, and there are a lot of different exciting things that you can do. Maybe like play games online, just your partner, his friends or her friends, and then your friends, you can get together for a game, you can still have a date night, you can have video calls. It's important that you update each other about what's going on in each other's life. Be honest and open. The less the communication, the more the distance you will perceive between both of you. It will not just be the physical distance of Bangalore and Delhi, it will be the additional emotional distance as well. So there are two factors you should consider, the physical distance and the emotional distance. Physical distance, we can't help that. But emotional distance, it definitely can be worked on. So just the fact that it's long distance does not mean that you're going to break up. It's probably this time that you're going to evaluate and see how strong your relationship can be and challenge yourself to make it last.
Yeah, I think that's true. We have a lot of relationship oriented questions. There is someone who also asked, they said that I'm afraid to get close to someone because I'm afraid of being hurt. Worse still is that both of us have had breakups recently, and I'm not able to trust him at all because of the lockdown. Not being able to meet increases my distrust. What do I do?
Okay. Um, so you said both of them have had a relationship breakup, right?
Yeah.
So it trust is the foundation of relationships, and you have to learn somehow to not bring the baggage of the past into the present. It is difficult because past mistakes or past heartbreaks is what makes you one probably more stronger but also more alert in the current relationship. You're more vigilant, you're looking out for these signs because you are afraid and you have been hurt before. So I think the best suggestion would be to take it really slow, to be honest with your partner about where these trust issues are emerging from, and to make sure that it's communicated that it's not about that relationship, but it's probably about the past. They should differentiate. Otherwise, if they personalize it and say it's because of you, then that might lead the relationship to a downfall. But to see where it's actually coming from, where it's originating from, that's important. So to be honest, that's one. Start small and learn to express your needs directly to your partner. For example, if you want him or her to drop in a message in the night just to make you feel better, even if it's a busy day, was just to say, this is how my day went. I may not have time to call you, but I just wanted to say, hey, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Something like that can also make a difference when it comes to building trust again. And trust is also like this big umbrella word. We have to see trust with respect to what? Did the person cheat on you, or was it just about you sharing something with a person and that was shared to someone else? That is also a break of trust. Was it about promises that is not kept? So you have to be very specific about where is this actually stemming from, and not generalize it to trust in the entire relationship. Trust with respect to something, and that something can be worked on. So starting small and trusting yourself, I think, would be a beginning rather than as a first step to learning to trust another person. Because ruining when trust breaks, it's not just that you stop trusting the other person. Somewhere you also stop trusting your own choices and your own decisions. So you have to learn to trust yourself. And that can come in small ways. For example, if your partner is if fixing a date for the night, okay, maybe you have a call, a plan for a call together. Just keeping up to a promise in a small way is a beginning that, I was able to do this. I can build trust again. I trust myself. This is a good person. He or she has treated me well today. They made my birthday a good day. I'm
Yeah.
going to trust him a little more. So take it like baby steps, right? And not just start comparing X to current and then just have that entire breakdown. Baby steps.
Yeah, I agree. Someone also asked, are some do's and don'ts to be followed if one enters a relationship during COVID-19?
During COVID, okay. Where did they meet in the first place? They were supposed to be indoors. Okay, so technology. Right. So do's and don'ts. The first thing is, I think, to be honest with each other when you're trying to discover each other online. It's a whole different process than meeting a person and discovering the person. I think a lot of what has also happened is these are some of the things that I've heard. Okay, so with the older population, where they've probably been working for 20, 30 years of their life, and I hear that this is the first time that they're spending this much amount of time with their wives or husbands after marriage. And this is like 30 years later. So I hear all these things saying, I didn't know my husband was doing this for all these years. Like he has got some new friends and I didn't know he invested in something. So people are discovering new things when they are spending more time physically together, right? So the opposite can happen when you are entering into a relationship online. There is a restriction which is definitely there. There's a limitation, I would say. So be honest and open with the other person in how much you want them to know about you, is what is the reason that you actually like this person. I think somewhere in the beginning of the lockdown, I found like there was a rise in relationships and a break in relationships. A rise because people were cut off from other emotional connects. So anybody who gave them attention, or this guy or this girl who were talking to them during the time of the lockdown when they felt really bad, they started developing emotional attachments then. So I would say again, take it slow, be open, transparent with each other, give each other emotional space so that that clinginess doesn't happen in the process of getting to know each other. That I want you to answer my calls always. Respect each other's emotional space as well. And again, the same thing, learn to develop creative ways to spend time together, even if it's just through technology. And that can go a long way. The don'ts again would be, don't expect them to always be at the other end of the phone, no matter what. Respect their privacy. So don't, you know, have too many unrealistic expectations. When you have something, communicate it. So don't hold anything back there. I think communication would be the best way to say, the best thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. Um, Someone wrote in one of the question stickers that we posted on our story, saying that she really thinks that she likes a man and has been talking to him a lot. But she asks that is it important to meet the person? Probably in reference to like the lockdown opening up and now people actually getting out of the house.
Yes. Um, well, I really can't tell people to break the rules and go out. It's definitely not safe. We can all see that the cases are going up. But it also depends on when you actually got into the relationship with this person. The urge to meet the person can be high, the curiosity can be even more higher, but there are alternate methods to, strengthen your relationship before you meet. I think you can hold on a little more
Yeah.
till the situation gets a little better. Maybe from phone calls you can get on to video calls, and see maybe there are opportunities even to enroll in a class together of your interest and take that class. So grow your interest and your compatibility, check your compatibility. This could actually be the best time to, I wouldn't say try the relationship, but the best time to explore each other when the times are trying. And if you're able to withstand this, then physically meeting would probably just be a reward after this long wait that there is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that matters a lot. Um, and we have, I think, the last two questions where one asks if my significant other is having negative effects due to the pandemic and I'm at a better place than him or her emotionally, how do I help the situation?
Right. So this is actually something which is coming up quite a lot right now. So you're talking about a situation where, let's say, one person might have lost his or her job, might be, and the other person has got something more stable, more reliable. They're probably feeling better about themselves. So I think the focus during that time is to be sensitive to their needs. Sometimes the partner might just want you to listen to them and not give them advice that you can do this, you can do that, where you come off as being superior, maybe more authoritative, maybe a little condescending. We do not know. But to begin with, you can listen to the person and empathize with the person. Ask them in any way whether you could help them out. This doesn't have to be necessarily financial, right? For example, men find in our culture especially find it very difficult to ask a woman for financial help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So understanding that, being sensitive to their needs, to see other ways in which help can be provided. sometimes it just helps to be very open with your partner and say that, see, I know that times are difficult and that it's a little better for me, it's a lot better for me, but I had your support when probably I was also going through a difficult time, and we are in this together, right? To re-emphasize that we are in this together. And there, if there is a way I can pitch in right now, I would be more than happy to, because if you're happy, I'm also happy. So
Yeah.
there's some way in which you can communicate that to your partner, and also note down the trigger time periods, I would say. For example, let's say usually 5 to 6 in the evening is when this person goes and checks their mail about all the job responses and things like that, and you know that 6 to 6:30 might be the time when the partner is a little angry or irritable. So if you know those time periods, that is not when you go and have the highest of expectations for the partner as well. And irrespective of the stress that is going on in the relationship, don't give up on yourselves. It is important to detach work from your personal identity,
True.
your crisis, your financial crisis, from who you are as people together, right? You did not fall in love with the person's money or job status or things like that, hopefully.
Exactly.
So I'm addressing a different sector of people then. In that case, it's probably time to, rethink about
Your
this
relationship.
is the person, or bring to notice also that this is who I like about you, your tendency to not give up. Give them a lot of positive feedback and maybe reassurances, and understand that if they are angry or irritable, it is not something personal and directed towards you. If you take it very personally, then that's when it can cause a lot of emotional disturbances in the relationship. So if they're going to lash out, remember, it's not personal, it's not about you, they're probably just having a bad day. Understand that, interpret it that way before you respond. And if it's getting a little bit too difficult for you, get some space. I usually would say, Rohini, that it's important for couples to spend productive time together, like household chores and things like that, product bills, maybe productive time separately. So his and her work separately, and good times together and good times independently as well. You need to have all of these four segments functioning well, and make sure that one identity, your work related identity, does not enmesh with your personal identity, detach. That's
True.
something which you can do.
And I think our last question is, someone asked, what can we do to maintain healthy relationships during the pandemic?
All right. Um, I think there are a couple of the points which I have
Yeah,
repeated.
I agree.
Yes, the good spending quality time together and apart, which means I need time with my friends. He needs time with his friends as well. You don't always have to be together 24/7, even if you are in the same house. That is one. Being open and honest in your communication. And this is not just about telling people what to do, but also expressing your needs. Somehow, there, we think or we believe that everybody is mind readers, and we get frustrated if someone does not understand what we want, right? So it's important to be direct and communicate your needs. Have your personal space, and this is physical and emotional space, which means even when you're thinking about things, it doesn't always have to be about the relationship. You can think about something which is very personally important to you apart from the relationship as well, your own career, your goals, your education, your friends, your hobbies, etc. And somehow for your in our culture, especially for any family to be strong independently, their relationships with their friends and family also have to be nurtured. So continue to stay connected. Physical disconnect doesn't mean emotional disconnect. And find out more interesting ways to discover things about your partner, right? I usually say there's nothing called a bad discovery. Even if you find out that your partner likes clipping his toenails in the common area, that's fine, it's still a discovery,
Yeah.
right? So just note it down as I'm learning something about my partner, and maybe challenge yourself to learn something new together. And there are a lot of research which talks about couples who do things together, which strengthen their quality and satisfaction. Like it could be cooking together, it could just be it could just be cleaning up the house. It could be enrolling in a class together, having a project that you're doing together, even if it's small. So develop creative ways in which you can function together. So these are a couple of the things that you can do to maintain the quality of the relationship during lockdown.
I think that's all the questions we had, but they were all very insightful. I for sure learned a lot of new things. So I think that's all we have. Thank you so much for your time, and
Thank you.
and I hope our viewers also learned a lot of things from listening to you. And thank you so much. And yeah,
Thank you. Bye
okay.
bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.